defense. It's a very close defense. I think they were disappointed because Dave Cohen is a great person and a great, and so that part of it, they were disappointed, but they know that the decision was made and we got to move forward with it. So there was never an issue with chemistry or having to bring the guys together because they've been together throughout the course of the year.
Coach, a lot of the guys have said one of the things you did was immediately go back to fundamentals.
Right.
A lot of the defensive play. Is that because you didn't a lot of time? Is that because you noticed some fundamental flaws in them? What is?
Well, I think anytime you have bowl preparation, that's something that's pretty common. You're going to use that time because you're not going to use all of the time on your opponent. You're going to use it on getting younger players better. You're going to use it to get other players better at some deficiencies. So I don't think that's uncommon.
Is this defense at all been a little fragile mentally? Like when they get down, you notice that it gets a little worse at times, and maybe confidence is lacking, or was for that 5 or 6 game stretch?
No, I think confidence is a result of positive experience and positive action in a lot of ways. And when we had some time when we weren't playing well, guys felt like they would like to be playing better. The expectation, the standard was to be playing better. So I think when you get a chance to step away and really prepare and work hard, you're able to kind of put those things aside, focus on a great opponent, and if you can focus on the task at hand, you can build confidence. So,
how much of a challenge is it to know you're going against the Brian Kelly offense? I mean, for you and trying to figure out what he's going to do and stay a step ahead, really, right?
Right. Well, I mean, two parts to that. Number one, he's an outstanding coach and an outstanding offensive coach. Right. I mean, that's without question. The things he's accomplished throughout his career are things that I aspire to be able to do. But in terms of doing your job, you don't get caught up in that aspect of it. You look at what they do, how they do it, what their strengths and weaknesses are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then formulate a game plan to go out and put yourself in position to win a football game.
Do you expect them to come out with a lot of spread offense, 3-4 wide receiver things? Because obviously that's what's worked against the defense this year. And while that's not what Notre Dame does per se, it's what Coach Kelly did at Cincinnati.
Right. I would think so.
How in terms of leeway, how aggressive can you be as a play caller, defensive play caller?
Clarify. What do you mean by that?
I mean, if you are you an aggressive defensive play caller in terms of blitzes and disguising packages and
Well, here's what I would say to this. I've always
because we don't know, we haven't seen
right.
each other.
I've always considered myself do what you can do and do what you can do best with the players that are available and the players that you have. You got to play to your guys' strengths. So I mean, if you look at over the years when I've been a defensive play caller, I mean, it's varied from year to year depending on the strengths that we've had. My last year at Maine, we had some NFL defensive backs, and that, compared to this year when we have new defensive backs. So I think you always got to look at it and say, what are your guys' strengths? What are their weaknesses? And you got to play to your players' strengths. So
one of the issues on this defense has been an inability to create turnovers. Is that something a coach on an interim basis can affect?
I think if you focus on doing your job, and if you execute at a high level, what you'll find is that you're closer to the ball. And when you're closer to the ball, what will happen is you will just naturally create more turnovers. That's one aspect of creating turnovers. The other aspect of creating turnovers is having an attention to detail, having desire, and having, hey, we're going to create them by ripping them out. The first man holds the guy up, the second guy strips. And those are always drills that every coach I've been around does, and you emphasize them in practice. But I think the thing that allows great defenses to create turnovers is that they're executing the defense at a high level, and then they're in position to make turnovers.
When you look at this defense, what are the biggest strengths that you want to translate to?
Well, I mean, the defense has done a great job stopping the run. I mean, there's no question about that. That's been a strength for the last 2 years. I know it's been a strength in the past. These just happen to be the two that I was involved with. So that's something that we've done very well, and we want to continue to do that well.
Does it help that for the secondary, young guys, new guys, they hope to have somebody who's there now, even though it's short term, not short notice, I should say.
Sure.
But has a secondary background and has worked extensively with the secondary. Do you kind of see the defense through their eyes, so to speak?
Well, I think anytime you're a coordinator, you have to try to see it through every position guys. And I think that, I have had experience coaching defensive line, linebackers, and secondary, and I just think that helps as a coordinator, because you've got to be able to see it through the player's eyes, and then you got to be able to tie it all together. You got to tie the run support in with the coverage. So I think it does.
Coach, obviously the secondary's had its struggles throughout the year, but that being said, against South Florida, they actually had success. What did you see in that game that can translate into Saturday?
I thought the guys executed the coverage. I thought the guys did a nice job of playing routes and driving on balls. And when that happens, you make plays. And when you make plays, you gain confidence. And when you gain confidence, you're able to play even at a higher level. So I would like to think that game provides some confidence for the young secondary. We go into a bowl prep, have some time to practice, and focus on fundamentals, and and see that carry over on game day.
The last guy that held an important